My name is Rachel, and I am a homeschooling mom of 11 years. I just graduated my oldest child, and this year I will have a sophomore and a 7th grader. So I've had this YouTube channel also for about, my gosh, has it been 5 years? It's been 5 years. I just realized that. It's been 5 years. I've made several videos about math. I will link my math playlist below, where any video that I've ever made about math and math drills and math struggles will be in that playlist. But one of my most recent, I put that in quotes because I think it was 2 years ago that I made this video about how I started to try learn math fast because I had a child who was struggling retaining all of the math that she was learning. And I made the video. We had kind of just gotten started and I was liking it and I was going to continue, but I haven't really told you guys much about how it's went since. So I've used Learn Math Fast in several ways with each of my children now, and I'll tell you a little bit about each one. So with my oldest child, I actually used, so my oldest child had already gone through Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 through Shorman Math in high school, and he didn't really like math. If he was going to go to college, he probably wasn't going to need any higher level math than that anyway. But I wanted to make sure he had solidified everything that he learned through Shorman. So I decided his junior year, because with Shorman, he got all three of those credits in just 2 years. So his junior year, I kind of wanted him to review because he had taken the ACT. Test because in Illinois, that's still probably the most popular test for college admissions. And we thought he could probably do a little bit better on his math score. So I have the entire Learn Math Fast system. I wasn't going to have him start with Volume 1, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, because I know he had that down. But I did have him start with Volume 2, which is all about fractions and decimals, Volume 3, pre-algebra, Volume 4, basic geometry, Volume 5, Algebra 1, and Volume 6 is Algebra 2. According to the Learn Math Fast system, a high schooler could get through all of these books, the entire curriculum, in 1 year, maybe 2 years, but very quickly. So I was kind of banking on that with my high schooler. I told him start with Volume 2 and just do the exercises, and the answers are in the back of the book. So I had him check his own work. I said, if you pass with, I don't remember what grade I gave him. I probably said 85% or higher, go ahead and move on to the next lesson. And I told him when he started out, it was going to be easier. So rather than just doing one lesson a day, which would make him go slower, I said, I want you to work for an hour a day. So set a timer, and you're either going to work for an hour or you're going to work through 3 lessons. So if he can get 3 lessons done in less than an hour, then I would let him be done for the day. And he got through 5 of the books in a year. He got through Algebra 1 in a year, and it definitely solidified what he already knew. It reminded him of fractions, because I think once you get into higher level math, maybe some of that, fractions especially, might still trip you up. So it reminded him how to do that. It just filled in the gaps that he was missing on the ACT. He never retook the ACT because he decided he wasn't going to go to college. But he had been taking the practice tests while he was doing the Learn Math Fast system, and it was definitely improving his scores on the practice test. So if you don't want to do any higher level math, but you want to make sure they know what they know, because they are going to probably need, but Algebra 2 is kind of the same as college algebra. if they go to college and they either need a test out of math, or if you get a business degree, you'll still be probably required to do a statistics class, which would still utilize some of the things learned here. This was an easy thing for my son to just go through, pass over quickly what he already knew, and focus on what he didn't know. For my youngest, I had her tag along because I had bought the system, or I had gotten the system for my middle child because she was the one that was struggling. But my youngest kind of wanted to do it too because she wanted to reinforce what she knew. She's actually not, she's pretty good at math, but I went ahead and let her take a break and do it with us. She solidified, she got quicker at her math facts, but I had her move on once we got done with book number 1 because I wanted her to continue on with Singapore math, which was her core math curriculum. And then I focused on my middle child. So I started her with book 1, even though I knew she knew her addition and multiplication and all that. She just wasn't fast. And this was the problem with the math curriculums that she was doing. She was making a lot of silly errors, and the things that she was learning, she was not retaining. Okay, so I have to say I didn't follow the curriculum exactly because in book 1, they do a lot of timed tests, 30-second time tests for addition, I think. Let's see here. So for example, just on the second lesson, we're doing addition with 2s. They give you a worksheet to practice, and then after you've practiced it, you have a 30-second time test. And you're supposed to keep doing this until they can do it in 30 seconds. I was kind of expecting it to be done in 30 seconds with no errors, or maybe just one error. Obviously, adding +1 and +2 was simple, but by the time we got to +6, +7, +8, +9, it was getting a little bit more difficult to complete in 30 seconds because you have to be quick. Like, let me see how many problems are in this 30-second. 2, 3, 4, 5 times 4. So there's 20 problems to be done in 30 seconds. So you have to know them. You can't pause. You can't be counting on your fingers, which she still liked to do. So this is my lesson learned for here is give yourself some grace, because I could have camped out on addition with my junior higher for an entire year until she was fast enough. And at some point you have to ask yourself, do we need to just move on? Like, maybe she knows how to add, she's just not going to be fast about it. So I decided to move on, and I gave her more leniency with the multiplication time test. This book, I mean, they're learning long division also. It's not just your math facts. I mean, it's everything that you need to know about multiplication and division, even adding money. And measurements is also in this book. So it actually says basic operations. It doesn't say addition, subtraction. So basic operations. We got through it. I'm going to just tell you how it went, and then I'm going to tell you my lesson learned as a mom, because I learned some things about my child from using this system. I want to say, because you might be getting the sense that maybe I didn't like Learn Math Fast, and that is not it at all. I actually really, really, really love Learn Math Fast. I love the simplicity of it, first of all. I love how the lesson teaches a simple concept and then it lets you practice it. And if you do well on the worksheet, you can move on. And it does have regular reviews in here, so it does go back and make sure you still remember that stuff. And if, like they bomb the review, you can go backwards. The other thing I really love about how this workbook is structured is it looks thick, right? It looks like a thick book. But you have to remember, it's your textbook and your worksheets in one book and your answers. So you actually you can get through the book faster than what you think, because the lessons are just simple. They're simple concept, a worksheet. This one has time tests, but once you get into further books, there's no time tests anymore. It's just simple. And if my daughter did not pass the worksheet, like if she didn't get at least an 80%, I went over the answers with her, and sometimes I copied the exact same worksheet because we didn't write in the books. I made copies of the worksheets for her. I would make copies and have her redo the worksheet because I knew she's not going to, she didn't have the answers memorized, so she can just redo the same problems again. If you have level 1, they also have additional worksheets on the website that are different problems. I'm not sure if they have that for every single book. I suspect that they may, but I didn't find it difficult. I didn't find it a problem at all to just copy the same worksheet that she had just done. And if we needed to do it again, in the lower level books, I can do this math in my head. So in the lower level books, if she needed more practice and I didn't want her to do the same worksheet over again, I would just hand write out problems that were the exact same problems here. I just used different numbers, and then I did the answers in my head. Because you can see, there's not very many problems on here, and so it wasn't too difficult for me to just figure it out. Or, something like this, I would just use my calculator if I wanted to get through it quickly and not have to do long division in my head, But that's what I did, and it worked out well. And then if she had to do it a fourth time, I just recopied the old worksheet again. She never caught on that I was doing that because I made her show her work. So this is so simple to use, and I also didn't feel guilty if I had to sit on a lesson for a few days, because I knew that this book wasn't going to take me a year to get through, and then we were going to move on to the next concept. So we did that, and we moved on to fractions and decimals, which is a much smaller book. And surprisingly, we got through this book pretty fast. Fractions, the concepts, this is why you need to know your math facts. You just need to learn how to multiply fractions, how to divide fractions, how to add them. Took a lot of practice, but we got through this book rather quickly, actually. And then decimals, adding, dividing decimals. Very, very pleased that we got through this book quickly. And then we started, and then the next thing we did was pre-algebra. And I felt like by the time we got to pre-algebra, I felt like my daughter was starting to click with math. However, this one thing would happen occasionally. So my daughter has ADHD, and I just think that this is a major contributing factor to her mathematical problems. Because when you're doing long division by hand, you have to pay attention to how your numbers line up. You have to make sure you're adding and subtracting correctly. Like, you have to pay attention to details, and details are not her forte. So I was getting frustrated because as we got further into the books, I could tell that she understood the concepts, but she wasn't getting the correct answers because she was making all of these calculation mistakes. And so I felt like we weren't going through the books as fast as we could have been because there are just so many silly mistakes. And I was talking to another mom at our Classical Conversations co-op, because this is the great thing about co-ops is you get to talk to these other moms and let them know, I'm struggling with math, and here's the thing that here's my child's personality, and here's what's happening. And I can't tell you how many times I have heard another mom say, yeah, I had a child like that, almost exactly the same, and here's what we did, or here's how they got through it, or here's my advice for you. And I got lots of advice, and we haven't tried all of it yet, but this one thing, one of the moms said to me, and this was mind-blowing to me, she said, let her use a calculator. And I was like, what? And she said, Rachel, when she's an adult, is she going to pull her phone out and use her calculator to calculate something? Yes. That's what we have, these devices now with us all the time. This is the world we live in. She's going to use a calculator. Let her use a calculator. Because she's learning concepts that are more complex than just the computations. And if she's struggling with doing it in her head, maybe she's nervous, maybe it's too much for her brain to hold it at this time, she goes, let her use a calculator and let her move on in math. And so I did that. I let my daughter start using a calculator, and she was still learning the pre-algebra concepts, which is solve for x, right? I mean, you can't punch into a calculator x plus 6 divided by 7y and get an answer, right? You still have to understand how to solve those things. So in that way, I definitely strayed from the Learn Math Fast system. I really wish that she could just memorize these things and hold them in her head, but she has a learning disability, and it is not the end of the world if she has to use a calculator. She's not going to choose a career that's going to require math, I guarantee it. So I used the system 3 ways. One, with my son, had him go through all the books as fast as he could, just to fill in the gaps of the things that maybe he didn't need, fill in the gaps of the things he didn't remember and he needed solidified, and that worked for him for that. I used it for my younger daughter just to solidify her math facts and her speed, and it worked for her. And then I used it for my middle child to kind of get her caught up to where she needs to be. She's going to be a sophomore this year, and she's officially going to be doing Algebra 1. So in a normal, in a regular school, maybe she's a year behind in math, right? In our state, you're only required 3 math credits to graduate high school anyway. Algebra 1. Actually, I don't even know if they say what math credits you need. It's just 3. So because I've thought about letting her do a consumer math her senior year. But we'll see what happens. She's going to be doing Algebra 1, and I feel good about where we're at. This program is also suggested to be used as a supplement. So if you have a regular math curriculum and maybe your child is just struggling with a few concepts like decimals and fractions, you could just get this one book to teach it quickly along with your math curriculum. When this math curriculum was recommended to me by many of my viewers, this is how you guys used it. You used it along with your math curriculum when they were struggling with a concept. I plan on making more videos explaining Learn Math in the future, and you guys have sent me some questions which I have gathered, but if you have specific questions about this system, leave them in the comment below, and I'm going to gather a frequently asked question and do a Learn Math Fast Q&A session. I did reach out to Learn Math Fast a couple years ago and got a discount for all of you. So if you use my discount code right here, and I will also link it all below, if you use my discount code, you will get 10% off. They have many different ways that you can purchase the system. You can purchase it all, and would be cheaper by book for you to do that, or you can purchase one book at a time, which is $38, or you can purchase a group of 3. They've got all kinds of packages on their website. If you use my code, you will get 10% off, and it'll let you know that you heard it from me, which I really appreciate because I love this company, and the owner is so sweet, and she's so helpful. Like, even if you have a question and you want to email or jump on a call with her because you're struggling with understanding how to do it, she wants to help you. So this is a very customer service friendly company. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you used it? Do you have any questions? Until next time, bye.